You're listening to episode 21 of the Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide podcast. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide, the podcast that encourages you to stop dreaming and start doing. All links and resources can be found at dvpodcasts.com/inspired/21. I'm your host, Darlene Victoria of darlenevictoria.com and dvpodcasts.com. Well, as promised, I am back with another episode this month, and I am super excited because as I teased a little bit at the end of episode 20, this is a new podcast format, and it's sort of a series underneath the umbrella of the Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide. So to set this up, I have a longtime business associate and friend who we just constantly are bouncing ideas off of each other and have been supporting each other in our businesses since at least 2009. And she's been on several of my podcasts before. She's been a constant in my business life and my life. And so the other day I was thinking to myself, geez, it would be fun to do a co-hosted episode or a co-hosted podcast series. And I was thinking to myself, who can I have to be a part of that series? And then it dawned on me, it was almost like a light bulb moment. I'm like, well, why not this particular person that has been a constant in my life and in my business life since I started my virtual assistant business way back when? And so I am super excited to bring to you this new podcast format series with my good friend, Christina Nelson of Mystical Mojo Box. It's a subscription service, and you can hear all about Christina and a little background to her business in a previous episode of the Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide. But, drum roll, da-da-da-da, here we go. This is the brand new Sanity Sessions series with Christina and myself. Hope you enjoy it. It will be a continuous staple in the Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide podcast. And here we go. Christina.
Hi.
Say hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
So when we were talking about what we were doing with this co-hosting thing, we were like, well, it needs to have a name. It needs to make sense. What are we going to do? And so Christina came up with a fancy name. Why don't you tell everybody, Christina?
Well, I came up with Sanity Session, something to do with sanity, because literally we entrepreneurs are crazy sometimes. And our little tagline is because we entrepreneurs be cray-cray. So, obviously, if this goes on for a while, we're going to have to change that because it won't be up to date. It'll just be crazy instead of cray-cray. But we are crazy because we go through so many things and we have so many ideas and we just, we're crazy to be doing this kind of job.
Right. And, of course, in the background, you probably hear some men at work sounds. I apologize. But we're also crazy because we work from home. We have all these different things distracting us. And when she said Sanity Sessions, or when you said Sanity Session, to me, it symbolized as an entrepreneur, we have that person in our life or people that we can bounce ideas off with or just unload on it when we had a stressful day. So for me, that's where I felt Sanity Session or Sanity Sessions is just perfect. It's a time where you and I can talk about different things going on in our business and also share information and resources to the people listening. So I just fell in love with that Sanity Session. So that, everybody, is what we're doing.
Right, and actually having have two of us, then we kind of get that being an entrepreneur from home, you don't have a lot of connection with people except online and by typing and texting and things like that. But this way, we actually get to speak, we get inflection in the voices, we get sarcasm when that happens. And it kind of brings you out of your head for a little bit, and it keeps your sanity in check when you're home alone all day doing this stuff.
Right. Home alone with your kids or with your animals like me and just, yeah,
Exactly. So, Christina, before we talk about today's topic, what's going on? What's going on with your business? This is our little sanity session now. So what's going on with you?
Well, just I think it was last week or a few days ago, I lose track of time. You know, you get in this little box that you're in all day. You forget the sun shines out there and you lose track of time.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mystical Mojo box, which is a monthly subscription box of mystical goodies, we launched another box as an offering in our website that is just mystical jewelry. So it's all crystals and inspirational messages and things like that. We've gotten a lot of good feedback from our customers of our regular box that the piece of jewelry that they get, they love and they'd like some more. And, you know, it's kind of hard to put more in that box without losing some of the good stuff. So we decided to do just a jewelry box. So we'll see how that goes. It just launched, so we haven't had anybody buy it yet, but soon enough we'll be promoting it like crazy. And we're trying to get our retail online store set up so that we can give more of the good stuff and even other things. So lots going on in the background.
So I have to ask, and this is just as an aside, everybody, this is new for me. I'm used to being interviewee, so this is, I'm always going to be coming up with questions. I'll try to rein them back a little bit.
Oh, no, keep it going. We're doing it.
But I'm curious how that second aspect of your business has affected you, like life. How has that affected everything? Like, are you crazy, overwhelmed? Yeah. So.
Well, the retail store has been in the works since early last year, but because the way the box has been growing, I had to kind of keep pushing it to the side. I mean, I've had the website. I've had a few items on there. I've been taking my time taking pictures of product, choosing product, things like that. So, yeah, it's been a little crazy in the background because I'm still working mostly out of our bedroom. So I have boxes right now that are supposed to go out in a couple days to customers that are stacked in my bedroom until I can finish packing them. The retail store stuff that I've got it in one big box off to the side. It's not even inventoried right now because I just don't have the space. So we knocked down our front all-weather porch and made it an addition, and now that's going to be my exclusive office. I cannot wait.
Oh, wow.
A whole big shelving area for my shipping area and all of the stuff and inventory areas. So construction going on and the mess here.
Construction.
July coming up, so I'm trying to fight with the post office to get everything out before the holiday. And, yeah, it's been a little crazy. And the kid home from school, that's also crazy. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so we entrepreneurs be crazy. My head is just spinning from all of that. I'm actually coming off of a whirlwind. I had this idea that I was going to go back to college, and I hadn't taken college courses for at least 4 to 6 years, and I forgot how stressful and how much time that takes up. And so my classes just finished this past weekend, and on Sunday, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Well, I saw you pass your math exam, so yay for you.
I did. And, you know, I'll be the first to admit math is not my strong suit. I'm definitely a creative individual, so it was a struggle, but I passed, and I don't ever have to take a math class in college again, and that makes me super excited.
Well, I'm proud of you. I never went to college. I couldn't wait to get out of school. I've always been I have to do it, and I'm not a book person. I mean, I like to read, but if I want to learn something, the last thing I'm going to do is sit down with a book and read. Unless it's like a manual and I can put it to the side while I actually physically do something. I'm a hands-on learner, so school was never, I mean, I had great grades just because I just wanted to get it done.
Right.
But I was never a book learner. I have to hands-on everything, and that's how I teach people, too. I can't teach. I mean, years ago when I was just doing the virtual assistant stuff and web design, I tried to set up courses where I could teach people with, you know, typing everything up in PDFs. I'm like, that doesn't work for me. I can't learn that way, so I can't teach. So I tried videos and things like that, but no, I have to have hands-on. So
yeah. Well, I'm like that, too, when I have to do reading assignments, I struggle through it. So I'm actually doing a communications major, and so I feel like that is definitely more more in my wheelhouse anyway, so it's not going to be. And plus, I've done all the stuff where I had to take the history and all of the required courses.
Yeah, I never understood why they had to do that. Yeah. I never understood why in college you have to continue that stuff. Why not just focus all your energy on what you're trying to accomplish instead of all that other stuff? I never understood why. So maybe that's another reason I didn't go to college, because I didn't want to take those other courses again.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is a totally different conversation, but I did the same thing. I started college right out of high school, and I couldn't understand why I needed to take all this other stuff. So I actually quit college and went to school for medical assisting, because that made more sense to me, because I was jumping right in and learning anatomy and physiology and all of that. So right there with you.
Yeah. I think vocational schools actually work out better than actual colleges. And they're cheaper. They don't put you in debt for the rest of your life, and you'll usually have a job when you're done. So
yeah. I had a job that I enjoyed, but then, you know, life always throws curveballs, and that didn't work out. But
well, I got married shortly out of high school, not with that person anymore, and I was so bored being at home that I would do anything I could to find a way to make money. I mean, I was crocheting, I was doing all kinds of stuff. So I've really been an entrepreneur most of my life. And it just kind of, as you go through the years, it kind of progresses from there, and you find other things. And I had corporate jobs, I had retail jobs. I had not one job in this world has ever made me as happy as being able to do what I want when I want, and be my own boss and sit at home. And if I come up with an idea, I can run with it or I can push it to the side. So entrepreneur is perfect for me.
Right. And I kind of want to now switch to, you know, being an entrepreneur. And the one thing that we always seem to come back to when we talk about entrepreneurship is all the different ideas. And like, it's so funny how I'll get an email from you and you'll say, "Hey, Darlene, I have this idea. What do you think about that?"
You realize you're the first one I email, right?
Well, I do the same thing. I'm like, well, you know, is this a good idea? And then I go, well, let me email Christina and see what she thinks about this. So today we're actually going to talk about ideas and entrepreneurship and how to decide which idea to pursue next. So I feel like you're the queen of what to do when your idea first comes into your head. And I always remember how you say you write it down on a notepad. So when you first get an idea, what do you do aside from emailing me?
Well, the first thing I do is, well, it depends on when it comes, too, because the ideas come at weird times. The shower, a lot of times. I don't know why. I think it's because I do a little meditation in the shower, and it just kind of clears my head, and, you know, the hot water, and nobody's bothering you. You can't hear anything. And a lot of times I'll wake up from a dead sleep in the middle of the night and have something in my head. Years ago, I had one that I woke up and I wrote down what the phrasing was, and I'm like, I have no idea what the heck that is. And I read it in the morning, still had no idea, and within a week, I had set up a website, bought the domain, and got in touch with you along with other people and set up the Business Darlings magazine that lasted a little over 2 years. That came literally out of a dream. Business Darlings was the name, and I had to run with it from there. There's other ones. I have papers. I have stuff on my computer that has business name ideas, and I have no idea what would go with it. I just came up with the name. I'm like, okay, someday I may need that. And I buy domains like crazy, which is ridiculous, but they're there. And it is hard to pick the right ones, but I find that if I write them down and then just walk away, when I get back to it, when I get a chance to just have quiet, or I take a little time to myself, or I'm just bored, I'll go open up one of the files or open up a folder or notebook or wherever it is, and I'll look at my chicken scratchings, and I'll go, hey, I remember that. This would work good for this thing that I just, and I'll start making the pieces, and they'll start connecting like a puzzle. I'll be like, okay, now I understand why that name or that idea came to me. Okay, here's the right idea or name that goes with it. Okay, now let's see if I can do something of it. And then it's research. It's just research. Right. First thing I always do is buy the domain. I figure for $12, $13 for the entire year, it's worth it to keep that in case I want it.
Right. I do the same thing, and it's funny because a lot of my ideas are podcast ideas. I'm like, oh, that would be a great podcast. And I have like a bazillion, and second time I said bazillion, but I feel like I have a bazillion different domain names for various podcasts.
You can only talk so much.
Exactly, yeah. And I've started some and then haven't continued, and so I'm not really good, and I need to be better at evaluating ideas. But what are some things in your mind? Because I feel like you're better at the evaluating the idea than I am. So I'd love to hear how you evaluate them, because me, it's more of, oh, that's a great idea, and then I react.
Yeah, well, not to say that I don't do that, because I do that a lot. I actually have 3 projects in the background right now that I reacted very quickly about, and they're kind of, now it's like, okay, I got to slow down, because I got to make time for them. But I think the only reason I'm so good at it is because it happens all the time. I mean, I'm constantly, I'll drive down the road, I'll see a phrasing. If I see it more than 3 times, all of a sudden my brain starts going.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of times it's just suggestion. You know, power of suggestion is hitting me, and it's all of a sudden like, hey, that might be good, or, you know, and it may have nothing to do with what I'm doing or have ever done, or it may have everything to do with what I've done or have done before.
Right.
So, again, it's another thing. I write it down, or voice recorder on my phone, or pull over and text myself, you know, anything, because I found in the beginning when I was starting my original business in 2007, I found that the only way I could progress and, you know, make some forward movement was to pay attention to all the little signs and little things that were clicking in my brain. And, you know, I can always throw them away. It's just a little piece of paper. It takes 2 seconds out of my day to write it down or type it up. And then I can look at it later and say, oh, no, I'm just going to throw that away. I don't want anything to do with it. I got to have the list. I got to have Post-its sticking around somewhere. You know, I used to, when I had an office years ago, Post-its were all over my wall. In the corporate world, Post-its were everywhere, and they had nothing to do with my job at the time. So I'm always thinking, and I won't say that I haven't had moments where nothing was happening. I mean, I've talked to you before. I had a good, 3-4 months there where my creativity was gone. My ideas were gone, and that felt like I lost a piece of me.
Right.
So I just started trying to not think about it, which made it even harder. But I started just writing down stupid little things that caught my attention every day. I mean, if a certain color of blue happened across the screen of the TV, I'd be like, oh, that's a pretty blue, and I'd maybe research the name of the color, or I pulled out coloring pencils and I colored, or I bought a little watercolor set. I've never painted in my life, except for walls, and I did a couple watercolors just to test it out, and I found that taking myself away from my normal creative outlets helped my brain get back on track.
Yeah.
And then they started coming like crazy again, so.
I thought of a fantastic idea for your new office when you were saying you should just have one wall, either just a full wall, chalkboard wall, or a huge whiteboard. And then when you have an idea, you just run there and you write it on your whiteboard or your chalkboard.
I actually have a grid planned out for one section of the wall that is just Post-it size. So I can put a Post-it in each grid, and I can color code them and everything. So normally people would put a calendar on their wall. Mine is going to be like a calendar sideways with squares all the way down.
You totally need to take a picture of
I will.
that.
My husband thinks I'm crazy, so, you know, I was like, oh, no, I'm going to do this, and I have this, and he's like, whatever, I'm going to put the sheetrock up, you tape it, and do whatever you want from then on, so.
Well, you were mentioning, your lists. You mentioned to me a couple weeks ago bullet journaling, and just as an aside, this is a fun aside, we both, and I have to ask you, we both participated in Reddit Gifts, so redditgifts.com, and we were talking about different things, and one of your people that gave you a gift, I think it was, they introduced you to bullet journaling. Or is it the other way around?
My giftie. It was the one I had to send to, and it was for a stationery one. I don't remember when it was, May, March, something like that. I can't remember, but it was a stationery gifting, and she said that she wrote in her BUJO, and I'm like, what the frick is that? So then I read a little further of her comments. She said bullet journaling. I'm like, okay. So before I bought anything, I went and looked at that, and I was hooked. I was completely hooked.
What is it?
I've tried. You have to look at bullet, like the gun bullet, journal.com, and there's a video that explains the basics. Now, there's bullet journal Facebook groups that will make you feel like the horrible, ugly duckling off in the side of the corner because they have these elaborate, colorful journals that they're using, and mine is not black and white, and mine is not super colorful. But I've always tried to use day planners. I've tried calendars. I've tried big day planners. I've tried pocket day planners. I've tried just carrying a blank notepad with me, and the only thing that works for is ideas. But, like, to-do lists and things like that, I was always horrible about keeping track of them. So, and I put them in my phone. I was really great at that. I just didn't always look back at my phone. So I needed something that I enjoyed and wasn't intrusive on the rest of my life. So I looked at the bullet journaling. It's a very simple way to take a blank notebook. It can be graph paper. It can be dotted paper. It can be blank paper, line paper, whatever you want. And it's very simple. It's like a to-do list, but the bullet is, which bullet journal, is you use different size and different shapes of bullets.
Oh, wow.
Tell you what the thing's about. So there's like a circle would be, this is an event I have to go to. A triangle would be, this is an appointment I have. And then you fill in the triangle once you've done it. An actual bullet or a line could be part of your to-do list. And, I mean, if you go on the Facebook group stuff for bullet journaling, you'll be amazed at the spreads that people come up with. They're tracking their TV shows that they're watching on Netflix so they don't rewatch an episode or don't miss one.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it's amazing. It's just fun to go look. I mean, if you have a creative mind, just go on Pinterest and put in bullet journal, and you'll see all kinds of ideas. And, you know, there's been a lot of people that get into it, and it gets overwhelming, so they need to go back to a day planner. This works perfect for me. I jot down what I need for the week. I have the month on another page. I don't journal in it like most do. I'll put little tidbits down of something that happened that day, but some people take like full pages and write, you know, like a diary, their whole day. I'm afraid I would lose it and somebody has all that personal information. I won't do that. And I've never been a diary person, but it's helped me because I have part of it for personal and I have part of it for business. So I keep track of both next to each other. Once my office is ready, I'm getting a separate one for business because that I don't have to carry with me. And this I carry with me everywhere right now.
Oh, wow. So the bullets can be anything. Like you can make them, if I wanted to, I could make it a flower. It's your own personal creative
You set up your own key to run by, and so that way when you look at it and you see that symbol, you know what it means. Nobody else needs to know what it means.
Well, I can't draw, so no one else will know what it means.
I said I couldn't draw either, and I found a 40-day course online, and it took me forever to finish it because I didn't do it day after day. But he teaches you how to just simple doodles. Love the course. I'll have to send you the link because I don't have it with me right now, but I absolutely love it. And I learned how to doodle things that actually make sense. People know what they look like.
You know, this is perfect timing because I'm going to be training for our marathon coming, in July we're going to be starting to train. And so that'll be great for me to keep track of different things on my training maybe.
Oh, yeah. They have...
I'll have to learn how to draw
and meal plans and everything. There was actually, speaking of the runnings, one person had a layout where they did like little, I'm losing my train of thought here. Dorothy, Wizard of Oz, where they took made like bricks down in a wavy pattern to the bottom. And it's for every 10 miles they ran, they colored it yellow, like yellow brick road.
That's cool.
And then at the end, you would have hit like 100 miles or something like that. So it could be 1 mile if you're just starting out, or couch to 5K. You know, they do their whole thing. And they come up with different ideas using other things. So it's like a fancy picture that you're coloring in as you do stuff.
Wow, that's crazy.
That made me think of you, though, the yellow brick road. For some reason, I thought Dorothy. I think Dorothy when I see you. I don't know why. You always remind me of Dorothy, a Wizard of Oz. I don't know why.
That's so weird because that's, like, my favorite movie, so that's really bizarre. You're weird, Christina. No.
I'm cray-cray. Let's get it right.
That is so true. So I want to turn back before we're out of time. So with the ideas. So I've tried different things. You've tried different things, and they didn't work out. Some are little things that are just like, others are bigger things where, like, oh gosh, I can't even come up with one right now. But, you know, a bigger business idea that just didn't work out. Can you think of one?
Well, Business Darlings, the magazine, I mean, it worked out for 2 years. I wish it could have gone further. That was a big idea. It could have been a really big thing. And I worked my butt off to keep it going. But the thing is, I had to rely on everybody else to write all the articles. And when you're not getting paid, you know, except in promotion, you kind of get a little lax. I had 3 people that busted their butts the entire 2 years, you included. And then I had others that said, oh, yeah, I'll do it for like 3 months. And then they never showed up, or they did one and they never, I mean, I had one that totally cut me off. Like literally cut off all contact with me or anything. I was like, did I do something to offend you? She sent one article and that was it. Never heard from her again. Wow. So things like that kind of throw you off your game, and you think, oh, maybe it wasn't such a good idea. But you have to really, any idea that comes, if you think it could be a business, you really, really, really have to think about, what is it going to take for me to get this launched, built, created, and to maintain it? Because if you don't have the time or the resources, you're going to be beating your head against a wall that you really don't want to. Can you maintain it long term? Like, is it something that you love to do, or is it something you think is needed out there, but maybe you're not the right person to be putting it out there? Right. So, you know, give it to somebody else. Put it out there in the universe. Post it on Facebook. Say, hey, I had a great idea, but I could never do anything with it. Somebody else run with it. And pay that forward. That may give somebody else the idea, and it may spark something in them, make them an entrepreneur so they can join this crazy world we have.
Right. And when that failed, do you even consider it a failure, or you just feel like
No, it was a learning. It was a learning experience all the way around. That more than anything I've done, and you know, I did WordPress for a very long time, and I was very good at it. Business Darlings hurt my heart more when it stopped than anything else I've had to quit or stop doing. I don't know why. I still to this day can't explain why that hurt so much. I think it was just because I really envisioned it into something amazing, and it was like grieving. I was grieving something that it could never come to. I birthed it, but it never grew up, kind of thing. And it was painful, and I think that was when I started having problems with my creativity dying down slowly, because I still had my WordPress web design and all that, and I was creative there. But yeah, having something that, again, I would never call a failure, because it did last 2 years. A lot of people spoke very highly of it. I had some great people that were helping me out with it, and it just wasn't meant to be. And I've seen other magazine type blogs like that now, similar. They're not doing the same thing, but they're similar, and they're doing great things, and good for them. I mean, I'm happy for them. I wish it could have been me, but it wasn't in the cards. And I had to step back and think about, okay, what did happen and what didn't happen. And I think the biggest thing was just the marketing, the social media, because that's something I'm not great at, and I couldn't find anybody that could help me on a full-time basis. Right. So I think that had a lot to do with it, but I did learn. I beat myself up for a couple days, but then I got over myself and just let the grieving process happen, and then I, you know, went on from there. But, you know, sometimes, like with WordPress, I did it for years, and I got bored. I mean, I still have clients that I take care of, because I would never get rid of them. They're awesome, and I think they would kill me if I cut them off.
Do you think it's okay to get bored? Like, I get bored with things. That's why sometimes for me, a lot of what I do is I'll get this idea to create something. So, like a pendant or a piece of jewelry. And I had this one idea where I was going to do metal jewelry. So I got the burner that you burn the metal in and everything. And I tried it once, and I was like, this isn't as interesting. I'm bored with this.
Like I did the watercolor. The same thing happened. I did like 3 little teeny tiny pictures, and I was like, okay, I'm done with that. That's just too much. I like things that are detailed, but that was just not my kind. And, you know, I'm one of those people that, and there's a lot of us out there, but where I have the very technical brain and I have the creative brain, and they fight each other a lot. Luckily, I've learned to, you know, kind of work together with them on the most part, but having the box business that I do now gives me the chance to do both. Where WordPress was more technical with a little bit of creativity in there. But generally, they had their ideas, and I had to go along with that. My thing was to make sure it worked the way they needed it to. And, you know, I started that in 2007, and I ended it in 2014.
Oh, wow.
End of 2014 is when I cut off taking new clients completely. Before that, I wasn't promoting at all for a year, but I was still getting word-of-mouth clients. But, yeah, 2014, near the end, I kind of cut it down to just the clients that I've had long-term. And they're just maintenance. They're, I make sure everything's running right, and if anything goes wrong, they call me. But I got bored. I got really, really, really stinking bored, but I stuck with it for 2 additional years after I got bored because it was the money. It was, that was my bread and butter, and that was what I knew how to do, and I was like, I can't stop this until I have something to start, because otherwise I'd probably go crazy, even worse.
Right. Yeah, and it's so funny because I remember you had a website, Ask Christina, and it was about ask you all your WordPress questions, and so I get it because I was there. I started out doing a web design, web development thing, and I just got over it. So it's interesting how you said, you had to then decide, well, what's next?
Right. So what do you do?
How did you decide?
What do you get bored and need to figure out?
What do I do? Oh, gosh.
Or when something doesn't work out the way you want it to, what do you do next? I got to get you in the, the interviewee point here.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I honestly don't know. I think I just kind of scaled back, and instead of just focusing on an idea, I focus on you maybe go for a run, go be with family, and I scale back the creativity and the whole thinking of, okay, well, that idea didn't work. Now what? I just totally refocus and just be with friends and family.
You gotta get out of your head. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah, because I don't think I ever truly then jump right into something else. I just...
And you always got to make sure that you're reminding yourself of everything you did right, not just all the bad things, all the wrong things, the boredom and all that. You always have to keep your eyes on and your head on, okay, this is what I'm doing right, this is what I'm good at, so how can I expand on that, or how can I learn more about this so I can get even better, that kind of thing. Because you don't always want to focus on the negative and, oh, poor me kind of thing, because that doesn't do you any good. It gets you stuck in a rut.
Right.
And we don't like those ruts.
No, not at all. Now I'm just trying to think of a time when that happened. I mean, what you said that, and going back to the metal jewelry, it didn't work out, but I had this cute little thing that I made for myself. It was a green ribbon for organ donor awareness, and so I have that to show for it.
That's nice. I think you remember I did set up a jewelry shop for a little while there, and I had a blast doing it, but then I had this bucket of all these jewelry supplies, and I kept looking at the beads and the things like that. I'm like, there's so many things I could do, but I'm just not sure I want to keep doing this. So I sold off what I had. I put the little bit left that nobody had bought off the website into a friend's garage sale, and she sold them for about what it cost me to make them. And then the bucket of materials I gave to a friend of mine who loves making jewelry. I'm like, here you go.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, it was something that kicked my head out of the business side of things for a while, except for the shop, obviously. But it was a lot more creativity, a lot more working with my hands. And it got me out of that headspace of what do I do next? I was just like, I'm just going to do something fun. If I don't make any money, oh, well, no big deal. It was fun because I still had, my business. And my husband thought I was crazy, obviously. He rolls his eyes a lot at me, but he goes right along with whatever I want to do. So I got a good one.
Yeah, I know. Mine too. He's just, I'm like, oh, where are you going? He asks, actually not even that. I was like, oh, I'm going to the craft store. And he's like, okay, have fun. Because it's always my ideas. If they're not business ideas, they're always crafty ideas. So, and he rolls with it. But, going back to the beginning, it's just a matter of making to-do lists and reevaluating those ideas. And I think it's just important, like we've said, to just step away and regroup, and that's okay.
Right. It's all a circle because if we went forward all the time, then, we'd be crazy, like super duper out of our minds crazy, because you're on one path. The world is very linear. I am in no way linear whatsoever. So me going and doing the same thing for the rest of my life, like our grandparents did with their jobs, I could never do that. Entrepreneurship is a vicious, wonderful, crazy, happy, exciting, stupid circle that you start with your idea, you work on it, you see if it's viable. If it is, go for it. If it's not, then start a new circle. and you just keep going around, and then when you're done with it, you start something new, or like we do, start 5 things at once and make them all work. So, it is, like I said, it's a vicious but wonderful circle, and it's a awesome family to be in. Just about every entrepreneur I've ever met has been amazing and fun to be around and are desperate for face-to-face contact once in a while. So, doing Skype sessions face-to-face is a good idea. But, I mean, it's just one of those things that if it's in your blood, you can't deny it, and you should go for it, even if it has to be part-time outside of your 9-to-5 job. Do whatever you need to do. And believe me, after starting when I did in 2007 with like $50 on to my name that I could use for a business, and I built my business. So you can do it for cheap and almost free. Whatever it is, figure it out. There's always a mom or a grandma or an aunt or an uncle or a best friend who will lend you $50 to do whatever you need to do.
Right. And, I'm a visual person, and when you said just start a new circle, I pictured this page with, a circle and then another circle next to it, but intertwined.
Like the things we used to do when we were little, like the spirograph type thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And so really, when you step back and look at that page with all those spirographs on it, they're all going to be interconnected anyway.
They're going to be colorful, and they're going to be beautiful, and that's your life.
Yep. I'm also going to put links to the past podcast episodes that Christina and I have done together. And so much more. Christina, let's wrap up the show. How do you want to do this?
Let's see. Well, our next episode is we're thinking about doing how to get your creative mojo back.
Yeah.
So we talked about today about what to do when you have an idea and what to do if it doesn't work out. And now next we're going to talk about how to get that creative mojo going if you don't have any ideas, because we've both experienced that, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling.
It is. It really is. And bringing it all the way back around, it can make you feel like you've lost your mind.
Yeah.
Like, where did my creativity go? So we're definitely going to talk about that next time.
So I think everybody needs to just finish with the podcast. Thank you for listening. And get out there in that crazy, crazy world out there that we enjoy. And get outside once in a while. Get some sunshine. And don't just sit in the office and work, because that doesn't make anybody healthy.
Yeah, no, get outside, enjoy the weather, and keep on doing what you're doing.
Yep.
That's what I got. Okay. That's my ending, Christina. Isn't that fun?
We'll come up with something. You guys can write in and give us ideas for our sign-off. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. What should our sign-off be?
Give us a good sign-off, something that goes with the Sanity sessions and how crazy we are.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Christina. This has been a blast, and I can't wait to chat with you next month.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.